It's Friday, it's January, and you know what that means. We're throwing another winter storm at you, or at least that has been kind of the cadence of the past couple weeks, right? So maybe you're planning some tropical vacation to get out of some of this winter weather. Well, you could be dealing with some delays, and the roads could be quite a mess as you're heading out. Look at this snow moving through the Ohio River Valley, eastern Kentucky, into West Virginia, up through Pittsburgh. That snow is coming down at a good clip. The winds are blowing as well. Right now from Baltimore to D.C. Now, it's looking a little bit better than it was earlier around D.C., but what's going to happen is all of this is going to fill back in. Baltimore, you're stuck in that snow up through Hagerstown. You've got that as well. That I-81 corridor in certain places through the mountains going to be a little slick. Give yourself some extra time. Maybe avoid it if you can. Heavy snow at times today, slick roads across this region. And what you know is, of course, this part of the country, very mountainous. And as you head up in elevation, that's where we're going to see some of the heavier snow totals coming down as well. So keep that in mind. The 95 corridor, New York, Philly, D.C., we are dealing with that wintry weather coming down. We already had a ground stop at DCA earlier for visibility for that snow. Hazardous conditions certainly are the story for today. Philly, reduced visibility, heavy snow at times. So if you're flying out of Philly, that could get you, and also slippery roads, of course. And then we've already had that ground delay program going on there in NYC at LaGuardia. So we're already seeing these impacts of Winter Storm Indigo, Jim, in terms of travel on our Friday.
Yeah, and that snow is going to come in
Snow can hamper your travel, right? And cold rain is never any fun. But you know what is like kind of the worst, the top level winter weather that's the worst? Ice. And we're looking at an ice threat as we head through the latter part of this weekend into early next week. You can see it highlighted here on the cusp for places like, say, Dallas, Wichita Falls, though, OKC, Tulsa, Fort Smith, up into the Ozarks. Looking like a chance for some icy conditions. This is the current forecast. Of course, we're still a couple days out, so this has time to evolve. But right now we're looking at maybe some of the higher totals, maybe a half inch, 3/4 of an inch, where you're seeing some of that darker shading. So up through the Ozarks, south of that 44 corridor, maybe around Fort Smith, but even just a 1/10 of an inch or a 1/4 of an inch causes issues when you're talking about ice, especially when you're talking about that Monday morning commute, which will be the timing for some of this. That can create just absolutely treacherous travel conditions. So I just showed you some of the numbers there. When you're talking about up to a 1/4, you're talking about hazardous travel, maybe spotty power outages. Getting up to a 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch of ice, you're looking at tree damage and that possibility for power outages as well. As we've seen, that ice can encase those trees. It weighs it down. They fall on power lines, and then we're without power. So here's overnight Sunday into Monday. You've got that freezing rain possible. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky, where you're looking at those temperatures in OKC where it's 33. So maybe your actual roads are okay, but those bridges and overpasses are freezing. Fayetteville, you can see those temperatures warm quickly. This is kind of our main saving grace here, is that we're influxing warmth with this. So we warm up pretty quickly after the morning. We just have to be careful with that cold start and that morning commute. Lots of rain in the forecast for the south as well. That's something we'll be watching. Some of these areas, though, do need the rain. Guys.
All right, we're kicking off our winter travel.